Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Joy Presley. Now before we start the video, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. That would be greatly appreciated. So as you guys can see, I have on my military Army OCPs because this is an Army video. And as you guys can see by the title, this is called Can You Date in the Military? Can you date in the US Army? I'm gonna be answering all of you guys' questions because this is something I get asked countless times and times again. It's one of those hot topics, and that's the reason why I have it rose, is because we are gonna be talking about the whole love and dating thing, and we are gonna clear up so many different things. We're gonna talk about all the juicy stuff, all the things that you guys need to know, all the rules and regulations, and let's just get started on number one. So number one is we are going to lay out some rules first and foremost. We are going to lay out the law because there are some things that you guys need to know. So first things first is when you join the military, this is not a game. So the military is not about dating and finding all these people. It's not a dating show. The military is something that's supposed to be taken seriously. However, the major question is, can you guys date? And the answer is yes. However, there are some major things that we need to talk about, and there are some serious things that we need to talk about. So number one is, in the military, sexual harassment, sexual assault, bullying, rape, that stuff is not tolerated, point blank, period. That stuff is not tolerated in the Army. You can't just come into the Army thinking that you're gonna, have sex with all these girls or guys or whoever. That is not tolerated. So that's number one, is bullying, rape, sexual harassment, fraternization, which is huge. That stuff is not a game, guys. That stuff is not tolerated. I don't condone that at all. I don't condone people who hurt other people. That stuff is not cool, guys, and we have to talk about that in this video. So number two is the major thing about the whole dating thing is it goes by rank. Now let's just talk about rank for a second, because rank is something that's huge in the Army. The Army is pretty much a big pyramid system. So it goes from lowest, which is a private, all the way up into the sergeant major of the Army. So a private is the lowest and the sergeant major of the Army is the highest. So let's just talk about that. And there are some ranks in between, such as, specialist, sergeant, PFC, which is like what I am. I'm a PFC, and we are going to talk about that. So first things first is an E1 through an E4 can date. There's a certain window. So an E1 through an E1 through an E4 can date. And this is going to get pretty confusing, so please guys pay attention. So an E1 through an E4 can date. And you're probably wondering, what is an E whatever? You're probably like, E what? What are you talking about? So we are going to talk about that. So an E1 is a private, all right? An E2 is a PV2, so it's a private 2. E3 is a PFC, which is what I am, guys. That's a E3. And an E4 is a specialist. So we just listed all of those. So a PV1, PV2, PFC, and specialist. So all four of those people can date each other, or they can date the same person. So let's just break that down. So let's just say a PFC, for instance. So in the Army, if you're a PFC, you can date somebody who's also a PFC. You can also date somebody who's a specialist or a PV1 because you guys are within that window, all right? So you guys can either date the same rank as you or a person that's within your certain window. Now, let's just talk about something else. Now, you're probably wondering, can a sergeant date a private? Absolutely not. That is a huge no. Why? Because a sergeant is, first of all, not in that window. Second of all, they're much higher than a private, and it's just not appropriate. So that is that. A sergeant cannot start dating a private. Vice versa, a private can't start talking to a sergeant. Now, does that stuff happen in the Army? Of course it does. Of course that stuff happens. But is it right? No. And we do have to talk about that because this is a video where we are going to be, laying out the law. So that stuff is not tolerated. Now, people do it, but you can get in major trouble, guys. It's just not worth it. You guys do not want to lose your rank over a stupid relationship or a stupid choice, because that stuff does happen. So that is number two, is rank. Rank is so huge. Now you're probably wondering, what about the higher ranks? Are they allowed to date? So we are going to talk about that. So you're probably wondering, can a sergeant date a sergeant? Yes, that's okay because they're the same rank. You're probably also wondering, can an officer date an officer? Yes, because they're the same rank. However, we are going to talk about intimate relationships. So any sort of intimate relationship is not acceptable in the Army. That stuff is not acceptable. Do people do it? Yes, but you can get in major trouble. So intimate relationships between officers and enlisted personnel are prohibited. So yes, a officer and an enlisted personnel are not supposed to be dating. That is not acceptable. Point blank period. They're not supposed to be dating. So for example, the sergeant major of the Army is not supposed to be dating, a private. That's just not supposed to happen, and vice versa. So pretty much when it comes to the whole dating thing, you want to make sure that you guys are reading about this stuff. Read about like what you can do and what you cannot do. Don't break the rules. Don't do anything stupid, all that good stuff. Now we're going to talk about basic training. So in basic training, you guys are not allowed to date at all. And even in AIT, two females are not supposed to be dating. It's not being homophobic. Nobody is supposed to be dating in basic training, whether you're a guy and a girl and a girl, a guy and a guy. Nobody's supposed to be dating because that stuff is not tolerated. And also, we are going to talk about some other fun facts. So when you guys are in any kind of uniform, such as the OCPs or the PTs, whatever kind of military uniform that you have on, you guys are not allowed to kiss in the uniform. You guys are not allowed to hold hands in the uniform. That is not acceptable. So we do have to put that out there because somebody did ask a question about that. So yes, there's no hand holding, no kissing. Even when you guys are out of the uniform, you're not supposed to be really kissing each other up in public. That's kind of rude and disrespectful. So yes. Another thing that we're going to talk about is sex. So are you allowed to have sex in basic training? No. I talked about this in my other basic training video. I'm sorry guys, there's no having sex in basic and AIT. Once you get to your duty station, things are a little bit different. So we are going to talk about that for a second. So when you guys get to your actual duty station, once you guys complete and graduate AIT, basic training, you guys will go to your duty station. Now, that could be for reserves or active duty. But when it comes to active duty in particular, you guys have a little bit more freedom. And the reserves is kind of different because when you're in the reserves, you're able to stay home. You're in your own town or near your town. You might be like 3 hours away from the base or something like that. But you guys are, domestic, meaning in the country that you live in. But when you guys go active duty, you guys do get a bit more freedom when it comes to dating. And I just want to talk about that. So I don't suggest that you guys date at all in AIT or basic. First of all, you guys can get in major trouble and I don't condone it. Now, people do it. But like I said, you're going to risk so much. You're going to risk your whole career over a stupid boyfriend or girlfriend. So it's just not worth it. But when you guys do get to your duty station, you guys do have a little bit more freedom. But like I said, make sure that you date the right person. Make sure you date somebody either within the same window as you. You guys do not want to get in trouble for that. That stuff is not a game, guys. That stuff is not a game. And sadly, there are a lot of people who have lost their lives over sexual harassment, bullying, fraternization. Rest in peace to Vanessa Guillen because that is a serious case that happened with her. That's a whole nother story. You guys have to do your own research about that. But sadly, Vanessa Guillen did lose her life over, sexual harassment and fraternization because of a sergeant trying to hit on her, which is horrible. So I just want to say that in this video. Rest in peace to her. Really, really sad. But like I said, guys, I take sexual harassment and fraternization very seriously because, I am a female. And of course, sexual harassment can happen to any gender. But, me being a female, I'm really strong about this topic. And I don't want you guys watching this to get tangled up in mess and things like that. So we do have to talk about that. So yes, there is more freedom at your duty station. You guys are allowed to date. You guys can technically have sex with people, but I don't recommend it. You guys don't want to get an STD or get pregnant or anything like that. That stuff is serious. Even if you guys are following the rules, dating within your window or dating somebody of the same rank, you have to make sure that you guys are careful at all times. You never know what people's intentions are. You never know if people are trying to hurt you or any way. So just be careful when it comes to dating. And as you guys can see by the title, we are going to be talking about love and relationship advice. So I'm trying to help you guys. Mama Presley is trying to give you guys all the keys of knowledge, all the little tokens of wisdom. If you see something, say something. That has to do with the whole dating thing in the Army. if you guys don't feel comfortable with somebody, don't continue to keep talking to them. Don't continue to keep calling them. If you don't feel comfortable with somebody, if something just doesn't feel right, you need to report it. That stuff is not a game. That stuff is not a joke. If you see something, say something. And that's pretty much it, guys. That's pretty much it for the whole love and dating things. Like I said before, it's all about just being knowledgeable about this subject. Don't do the wrong thing. Don't have sex and basic training in AIT. Don't make stupid decisions. That stuff is not a game. In the Army, sexual harassment, bullying, rape, any kind of assault, that stuff is not tolerated. Unfortunately, that stuff does happen though. So you guys need to just be to stay safe or anything like that. When you guys are walking home by yourselves, always look behind your shoulder. Always make sure that if you're somewhere and you don't feel safe, call somebody. Call your mom, call your sister, call your brother. Call somebody so that they know where you are and they know that you're okay, because that stuff does happen, guys. You guys need to stay safe out here. After all, this is the pandemic, and we do live in a crazy world where people will try to mess with you and stuff like that. And like I said, guys, please stay safe. And I really hope that I helped you guys with all your guys' questions. So yes, an E1 through an E4 can date. You guys can date the same rank as you, but you cannot try to flip-flop and try to cross over and date this one, date that one. I would just recommend to just focus on your job. The Army is all about your career. It's not really about dating. It's not really about love life. You guys can do it, but it's not really recommended. It's kind of like in school when your parents will tell you not to date people. They're doing it to help you. Sometimes you don't always need to be dating this one, that one. It's good to just focus on yourself. Grind on your own, guys. Grind on your own. The dating can wait until you get to your duty station. And I also forgot to mention that you guys are allowed to have let's just say that you guys have a girlfriend back in the States, but you're in a different country. You guys are allowed to date civilians. That's a whole different thing. Hey, if you want to talk to somebody who's a lot younger than you, who's a civilian, I don't recommend it, but a civilian dating a military person, that can happen. In the Army, you could be married, different things like that, but that's a whole other story. And if you guys do decide to get married, there is something called BAH where you guys will get more money. I talked about this in my how much money do you make video. So if you guys are still confused on, the whole money thing, go watch that video. But that is pretty much all for this whole video, guys. I do not want to make this too long, but that is just my advice, is to just stay safe. Don't do anything stupid. You guys are allowed to date, but make sure you guys read up on what you can do and what you can't do. There's no hand holding in uniform, no kissing in uniform. You guys already know the drill. You guys already know what to do. It's just like the civilian world. You want to just have an open mind, and you want to just keep yourself right. You want to keep your mind right. And I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I had such a great time filming this. I'm so excited that our family is growing. We have reached 300 subscribers. I'm so ecstatic, guys. I am so ecstatic. I'm so happy, guys. I love each and every one of you guys. And my birthday is coming up on March 13th. I'm debating whether or not I want to open up a second PO box. So if you guys want to, you guys can send me some gifts. You don't have to, but if you want to be generous and send me some gifts, that would be greatly appreciated. But I am debating, so let me know in the comments down below if you guys want me to open up a PO box. But that is pretty much all for this video, guys. That is the whole dating thing in the Army. You guys need to make sure you guys read up on it, stay safe, all that good stuff. That's all for this video, guys. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Stay blessed. Peace. Love you guys.